Good afternoon, everyone, and happy spring. I know I haven't really talked to you guys in a long time. I've been doing a lot of YouTube shorts in the past days. It's been just a lot of schoolwork. I really apologize for that. But like I said in the last update I did, which was I think last week, there hasn't been much going on. We're having a break in the weather for the eastern U.S. Now it's back to the western U.S. with that very strong atmospheric river, and so basically, I'm going to give you a breakdown on everything that's going to be happening this week and then a little bit early next week. We have a few things that are a little concerning, but we're really going to be focusing on the central U.S. and the eastern U.S., but we'll also discuss this atmospheric river here in the west. So let me just show you around basically what's been happening in the last few hours. So you got your precipitation here that's been falling across the western U.S., and then here across the eastern U.S. I don't know if you want to say in any region in the eastern U.S., but just around the coastline or close to the coast, you've been dealing with some rain. Thunderstorms out here, just light to moderate rainfall, and a little clipper system here that's not doing much. It's not dropping any snow in the U.S. territories, but I think that really that this is just all what we've been focusing on and what we'll be looking at in the update. So we're gonna head on to our alerts. So let me pull these up. And I mean, like I said, there's nothing much going on. It is spring, so we're gonna see a lot less, winter storms. I don't think I've ran this channel actually during the spring. I started this last year. Pretty much, yeah. I guess a year ago. We're about to hit our, I think, year one or two anniversary, but we are definitely getting there. You can see that there's, there you do have some flood, watches, warnings, advisories. This is mainly for that area that's about to get hit and just got hit by some rainfall, and then eventually a possible severe weather event. But this is all flood watch here that goes out for southern Missouri, southern Illinois, and Indiana. That also does go out for a portion of northeastern Oklahoma. I think it's really just going to be for southern Missouri if I had to, talk about one specific area. And then you do have this pink here. This is in this like hot pink here. This is a red flag warning. This has actually been out for a very long time. This has been out for like a week now. So you've got, relatively hot conditions out there. It's down south, so they've been in the 80s and 70s back and forth. I live on Long Island, if you didn't know already. Right now it's actually like 60 degrees. So it's a pretty nice day actually for the eastern US. But yeah, we're gonna see those dry conditions with those relatively gusty winds because right next door, west to it, you have a high wind warning that goes out for portions of New Mexico and southeastern Colorado. So, that is definitely the second most concerning part of today's weather, just because we've been seeing a very strong fire risk, but we haven't been dealing with pretty much, I don't think, any wildfires out there. But it's not been too crazy with that. And then here in the western U.S., you have your atmospheric river, a bunch of watches, warnings, and advisories out, storm warnings, avalanche warnings. There's a lot of stuff, and there's a few winter storm warnings that actually goes out for southern California. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. And then you've been also dealing with in the past few days this flood watch that goes out for the southwestern U.S. Not much going on with this. It's just because of that leftover precipitation from all these rounds of the atmospheric river. That is pretty much all, that's pretty much the whole idea of your current conditions. And we're going to start it off with your atmospheric river. So this was 3 p.m. Today, so this was about an hour ago, and you've been dealing with some rainfall mainly off the coast. You've been getting some of that rainfall. Well, now it would be on the coast, but you're gonna start seeing that rainfall quickly spread. This will also mix with some snow showers, mainly north. This round is not going to be too terrible. I don't think there's going to be a huge flooding threat with this, so don't worry about this threat. I know that most roads are, well, not most roads, but at least a few roads are flooded out there in California, but this one shouldn't add too much rainfall because, you don't see much, action taking shape. And the closest low pressure system is barely in the U.S., and it's all the way out east to Texas. So this system almost has nothing to do with this low pressure. So this kind of has a mind of its own. If this forms a low pressure for itself, it'll probably be a little stronger than what I'm going to be forecasting. But if it doesn't, then I think that you really shouldn't worry that much. But like those warmer temperatures, I mean, the ridge in the southeast is back again, and it's going to dominate the eastern U.S. for a few months. I think this one's going to be a bit stronger than the one we saw last month. That means that the colder air is going to be also stronger here. But because it is spring, you're just gonna that's just gonna be a big factor of why you're gonna see less snow from these systems, because you or less snow, because you don't see that much snow. I mean, there's like not even that much precipitation, so you have no choice but to really get rain. Then the worst of it comes. When I say worst of it, I don't mean terrible impacts. The worst of it meaning probably the most precipitation you're going to see. This is probably going to be the same time right now tomorrow. So in exactly like 24 hours from now, you should start seeing some more substantial rainfall and snowfall. But just a cloudy day in general today and tomorrow, and then a few snow showers, maybe up to moderate or maybe even heavy snow, could move in on the backside of the system. But you're getting to the middle of the night tomorrow night, and you're starting to see that clearing. And California is going to be relatively dry. I think this shouldn't be I mean, like I said earlier, this should not be a bad round of, this atmospheric river. But I think this is a good preparation for next round, because next round is going to be a little stronger, and then eventually we're going to get back to full swing, which is when things get really dangerous again. So, nothing to be worried about. Actually, it might be a relatively nice day for you folks in the western U.S., and that'll bring us to the central U.S. So, like I said earlier, we do have a chance for severe weather. This is pretty far out. It's 3 days out. We still have a few days to forecast this, but to track this. But it's looking possible to likely that we're going to see some severe weather. Now, I don't think this is going to be too bad, but there is an enhanced risk. So today, this is that precipitation we saw earlier with the radar. That's going to pull up a marginal risk. So that there would be a level 1 out of 5 risk from the SPC in the National Weather Service. So that will go out for Pedroia. Looks like this is Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Joliet, and Springfield, Illinois. So this area of northwestern Missouri and central central Illinois. That's where you're gonna have the possible severe weather today. I'm gonna tell you now, and I'm not gonna tell you again. There's gonna be no severe weather today. Do not worry about this. This is just telling you that thunderstorms are possible, but it's very unlikely that severe thunderstorms are gonna be out there, because we're not even gonna look at this. There's the hail risk is only it's the only factor of severe weather that's possible, and it's just a 5% risk, and it's for the same area. So you don't have to pay attention to this. Just make sure that you're aware that there's going to be some thunderstorms possible out tonight into maybe, middle of the night to early morning tomorrow, but, that's really it for today. Day 2. So we're going to start seeing a warm up with those severe storms. Well, here you go. They're going to start firing across central Texas into the south central plains. So we're up to a slight risk as of now. I don't think this will get upgraded. It's just for tomorrow. There shouldn't be too much happening. It's a pretty big area. I mean, you do have uh, a light green shade here. This is just for the area that is going to be impacted by thunderstorms. It does reach into the mid Atlantic, but we're focusing on the south central plains. So your slight risk includes Fort Worth, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Arlington, Texas, and Plano, Texas as well. So it's really this whole area of central Texas that's going to be the pinpointed area for tomorrow, and that's also going to be bumped into parts of central Oklahoma. So southern Oklahoma into central Oklahoma and then central Texas. That's where you're going to have the biggest threat for severe weather tomorrow. It's not looking like it's going to be too bad tomorrow. I think really it's going to be Friday. That's going to be like the main day for the severe weather. But severe weather is still possible for that area. So let's see what we've got here with your categories. So tornado risk, very low, 2% risk at most, and we're not even gonna talk about these cities. It's just for northern Texas and south central Oklahoma. Wind, a more widespread area, that's 5%. Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Arlington, Texas. And then hail, you do have a significant severe. This is your hatched area, so you may see some pretty big hail. I think that the wind and the tornadoes are obviously low, but the hail is definitely out there. We're up to a 5%, 15% risk. Fort Worth, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Arlington, Texas, and Plano, Texas. You guys are all included in this 15% risk for hail. But the hatched area is very tight. It's hugging the borderline of northern to north central Texas and then south central Oklahoma. So I would say any of you on this borderline, I'll make it a little brighter because I'm writing it in red. Anywhere around this area, I don't care if it's down here near Abilene or up near Tulsa. I think you're gonna have two major areas for that. Large hail with, I'm talking like an inch and a half in diameter, maybe even a little more. Because when you see a hatched area, this means of one probability of 1 inch hail or larger within 25 miles of a point. The hatched area is a 10% or greater probability of 2 inch diameter hail with 25 miles of a point. So we're talking at least 2 inches. So maybe I'm skimping on that 1.5 inch diameter hail, but it's gonna get pretty damaging. So I'll tell you, if you're in the area that I circled here and you have a garage, I would recommend to tell you guys park your car in your garage because you don't want it to get smashed and totaled by hail. It's just I know it's like there's not you're not definitely going to get hit by hail, but just so you make sure that if you do, you're ready for it. So yeah, that's pretty much for tomorrow, and this is what we're going to be looking at. That's the most concerning. Okay, so this is Friday, and we're up to an enhanced risk. I know this is 3 days out, and you're probably worried that this is going to get upgraded to a moderate risk. Now, we don't have to freak out over it because last time we had a moderate risk was a few weeks ago, and there was a pretty high risk for tornadoes. It looked possible that there was going to be a severe weather outbreak, but it turned out to be okay. There was just a very strong line of storms that moved through the DFW area, but that was pretty much it. A few weak tornadoes touched down, but that wasn't too bad. The real problem would be if we got to a high risk. Now, we don't, because this is 3 days out, we don't have the, categories for the severe weather and the percentages for those. But if we put this to the probabilistic, as of now, it's a 30% risk with a hatched area. And this is farther east. So we gotta make the decision. Does this want the warmer air, or does it want to go to the more classic tornado alley place. If this were to shift over to back to the central U.S., where the classic tornado alley would be, then I think that this tornado threat would ramp up. But because we don't have those categories out yet, we have to make a prediction of what the National Weather Service is going to say about this. I'm going to say that the tornado risk is going to be 15% risk, just south of Little Rock. That's my prediction. So I'm going to write it in for you guys. I think this whole area here is going to be under a 15% risk as of tomorrow. But it's going to change. Because, again, like, from now until then, we have over 48 hours. So, we'll definitely see those changes. But it's looking possible. Because you have an enhanced risk for some major cities of Jackson, Mississippi. I think this is Monroe, Louisiana, Alexandria, Louisiana, Greenville, Mississippi, and Vicksburg, Mississippi. Okay, so like we've been seeing in the past years, now we're getting to like long range weather. We've been seeing that tornado alley shift eastward. Like when I said the classic tornado alley. I mean like the tornado alley you would look at if you looked up a tornado alley map. It would be for this area here. That would be pretty much the central plains in the central, region of the tornado alley. But then we've been seeing, like, for years now. I mean, we've been seeing, it's probably since like 2020, a major shift of tornadoes, now including a lot of the southeastern US. So you're thinking that, this is probably going to make this system have the severe weather shifted eastward. And that's what we have to decide on. If it's going to stay with the classic central US and it's going to kind of duel with the strong cold front pushing in from the northwest, or if we're going to stick with the moist and warm air in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to rely on. So right now, if the National Weather Service had to predict, they would say it would stick with this Gulf moisture. That's what we've been seeing with all these possible severe weather events and severe weather events that have impacted in the winter time and colder times. But it's spring now. So this may decide that because it's spring now, it's going to go back to its original area and take the warm air and the cold air for granted. That is the major decision, and that is going to be the key for what this severe weather is going to do. I just want to let you guys know that, because that is anything that changes with that is going to have a huge impact on this severe weather. In fact, even if a little change happens, this whole thing could change completely. I mean, I'll tell you, I think I'm really expecting a lot of major changes, just because that this ridge is back here in the southeast. So, I mean, that's the latest info we have on this severe weather event, and we're gonna look at the FP3. So I know that we don't get the full length of this system. We get most of it, and we're gonna start out in the central plains, not the eastern U.S., because this is the area where we have the most, the longest view of this system, with a radar-like model. So we're gonna start fresh from the beginning. Here is your first low pressure system. It's just been, formed. It's only a 998 millibar low pressure, so not too bad. And then this quickly jumps away from the atmospheric river, and then that's going to be the start of your system. And like I said, if it starts early in the plains, that means that the tornado risk could really ramp up. So we have to see what this is going to do. So pay attention with me. Stay with me here. This does look like it's going to be slow moving. and we finally see another low pressure system. So we have two dueling low pressure systems still trying to dip under the 1,000 millibar mark. Now, it's going to take a very long period of time for these to do that. And at one point, you might not even have any low pressure at all. And it's getting a little late. I mean, you're already at, this is the morning hours of tomorrow, and you're still not seeing any precipitation. But then here it comes. It's back again, and then your storms start to fire up. So, midday tomorrow is where you're going to start seeing those storms start fresh and early. They're not going to be too strong until you start seeing that curviness. All this curviness is tornadic action that's going to be taking shape on these systems. These are strong supercells that is basically going to be being fueled by this moisture here in the Gulf Coast, and that's going to be colliding with this very strong cold air on the backside that's pushing this system eastward. And then when these two very strong, fronts combined and collide, the atmosphere is going to be extremely unstable. And here you go, it's in the exact same area as your storms. That is the key for tornadoes that are strong and long tracked. And you can see, like, right after that time period, this is 7 p.m. Tomorrow evening, you're starting to see these storms really get going. And this is just round one because you're already at 11 p.m. They're still going, and then you start seeing a squall line start to form, which is going to ramp up that damaging wind threat. Which usually with these storms later or earlier in the season for severe weather season, they usually form at night. So that's gonna be your round of that's gonna be round one for tomorrow. But then quickly after that, maybe even connecting to that round, you're getting your second round. Now this is for Friday, and you're quickly getting started here. This is 6 in the morning, and this is not in the southeast. So I think that based on the model run that we're looking at, um, this system is definitely going to be looking at the south central more than the southeast. So that's going to really take that tornado threat very high, and it's going to be very slow moving. Just because that this all this Gulf moisture here is really going to be trying to, push this cold air back, but just because of how strong this ridge in the southeast is, it's floating all that cold air in the western U.S. where it gets to the point where it's just so strong. It's like picture it as a balloon. There's so much air, that the ridge in the southeast is pushing into the western U.S. that it gets so large that it just has nowhere else to go and has to plow that warm air back into place and make the atmosphere extremely unstable. And that's how you know which area is going to get hit and if you're going to see tornadic action or not. So, that is very interesting, and it's something that it's severe weather is all about. It's really just the air masses and what your conditions are going to be. But I mean, this is 8 a.m. and you're getting it to. I guess this would be Friday. So you're still in the morning hours, and it's past the central U.S. I would say that. And there you did see a little bit of curviness, but you're still not going to see any squall line until after the central U.S. But then here you get your squall line for the eastern U.S. So, if I had to circle an area, the damaging wind threat's definitely going to be high in this area here. So it's because that as the warm front gets pushed to the southeast, it gets weaker, and that allows this colder air to get stronger, which is definitely going to make just form this front the squall line, and that's really it's the cold air that's going to form this, because if this warmer air is would be stronger, then tornadic action would be a lot higher. But the colder air is just gonna continue to weaken it to the point where it just has nothing else to do, and it's got like no energy left. Um, But yeah, I mean, this storm is finally going to move out, and then you get another, round, and then this would be for like I think Saturday. So, there's going to be 2 or 3 rounds of very intense to a severe weather outbreak. And the two main areas are here of the border of Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, and then here in the southeast. So if you're in these 2 areas I circled, stay aware. I'll keep you updated and continue watching these updates. So we're gonna move on now to, looks like this is the eastern U.S. So I know you might be a little confused of what we're looking at, because we haven't been looking at this in any updates. So this is basically a model run showing the the low pressure and the high pressure. So, high pressure is definitely going to be in this, the warmer colors, meaning like the oranges and the yellows and the tans. That's all high pressure. And then the low pressure is in the blue. There's this like key here. It really explains well in just numbers and colors. It explains what this, how to understand this map. So you see -36, that would be 36 millibars under 8,000 millibars, and that indicates low pressure. Now 36 over, which would be in this purple, that indicates very high pressure. So it's something interesting to see, but this is just going to show where the strongest signal is for a major storm threat. So, I mean, here it is in the southeast. This is what you're looking at here from that severe weather, and it quickly grows. I mean, that's like the signal that it's going to be very strong. And you can see that it gets very dark. That's indicating, um, very strong air masses there. And that is definitely going to be a reason why we're going to have very strong storms. Now, if we go back to the map here, you can see that we're pretty much dry. So this is all indicating high pressure. And it's because of how, I mean, look how, strong this this warm air is. It's all the way into, like, well into the northeast, up New York State. So that's why you're going to see that high pressure here. But then once you start having that severe weather build, you're going to start seeing that blue start creeping into the southeastern U.S. So I'll get back to it. So there's a little confusion there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to start clearing after this band of precipitation moves out, and then here you go. You're going to start getting it back, and I think we actually skipped ahead. Yeah, we did. All right, here it is. So, I mean, this model run here is showing a lot more low pressure north, which makes sense because we saw that low pressure, that those two dueling low pressures at first, one here and then one here. That southern low pressure is actually going to die off, and this one that's going to be farther north is going to be the one that's going to carry this system all the way into the northeast. So this is all what we're going to be focusing on. So this I just got a notification that we don't have any screen recording time left, so I'm going to have to end this off early. But just to show you guys, that was the low pressure system moving through. So I'm going to have to wrap it up, guys, but thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like, share, comment, subscribe, and not subscribe to the channel. Catch you guys in the next update. So stay safe out there and enjoy your spring day. So we'll see you guys.